Sometimes the best stories in golf aren't found on tour. You'll find them at the back of the range. And here's your host, Ben Adelberg.
Welcome to the Back of the Range. I am your host, Ben Adelberg. This is episode 83. It's Open Championship Week at Royal Portrush. That means we're going to do another giveaway. So it'll be on Instagram. If you aren't following us there, do so now. We're at the Back of the Range podcast. Typical rules apply. You know the drill. Tag some friends, pick the winner of the Open, and as a tiebreaker, provide the winning score. The winner will get one of our new trucker hats, maybe some tees and a towel, a ball marker, basically anything we got that has our logo on it, you're going to get it. Speaking of the Open Championship at Royal Portrush, our friends over at the Dunvegan in St. Andrews, Scotland are on tour this week. They've actually recreated the world-famous Golfer's Corner Bar in Northern Ireland. If you remember back on episode 35, I had a great conversation with Sheena Willoughby about her 25 years of running the Dunvegan in St. Andrews along with her husband, Jack. Well, I had another chance to chat with her about this amazing project of relocating the experience of the Dunvegan at the Open in Royal Portrush. If you want to listen to that conversation, the link is in the show notes of this episode, and you never know, you just might hear some more stories from the Dunvegan later this summer. Remember, keep sharing the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reviews are always appreciated in Apple Podcasts, so keep those coming. And if you want to shoot me an email with any suggestions, or if you need to catch up on the previous episodes, go to thebackoftherange.com. Everything you need, it's right there. Our guest this week was thrust into the national spotlight last year after she made the national championship winning putt for her University of Arizona women's golf team. After the Wildcats barely snuck into the match play portion of the championship as the 8th seed, they ran through match play and defeated Alabama. LinksHaley Moore made another clutch putt at this year's national championship, which got the Wildcats into the semis. Even though her college career ended there, Haley was able to cap off her amateur career with a top 10 finish at the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur. I spoke to her about that tournament, her career at Arizona, and the early success as a professional on the Cactus Tour. She's prepping now for Q School, and this is someone that you're going to see on the LPGA Tour very soon. Now, you heard me mention the show notes of this podcast. You're going to see several links in there. One of them is going to be to LinksHaley Moore's GoFundMe account. Might want to take a look at that, and if you want to support someone that is starting their career as a professional, this is a perfect way to do so. So let's get started. Haley, thanks for joining me here at the Back of the Range. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you can join us. We like to promote in our episodes on Instagram. I know you follow us on Instagram, so that's nice to have a guest that kind of knows the drill and knows what we do around here. We had your coach from Arizona, Laura Ianello, on last season. That was a lot of fun. What do you miss most about being on that team right now? You're a new professional. What's the one thing you miss most about school?
I definitely miss the team aspect, all my teammates, and just my coaches, just because I won't really be seeing them as much. I'll be watching them online basically now instead of seeing them in person. But one of my teammates, Bianca, she's planning on being pro too and going to Q School. So I'm hoping I'll be able to see her. And I definitely do miss the team, but I know that Coach Laura, she's going to do great things with all the new freshmen coming in and with all the players returning. They're going to do pretty well these next couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would not be surprised if they're right up there again fighting for another national championship in next year and the years to come. I know that Coach Ianello picked up Coach of the Year, so lots of back of the range mojo all over the place at Arizona. Before we talk about your college experience, recently turning pro, you also had that great invitation to play in the very first women's amateur at Augusta National. I always like getting into the start of my guests' golf journey, so to speak. So tell me a little bit how, and you're not the only golfer in the family, so tell me a little bit about getting into the game, growing up in Escondido, California. How did you get started with golf?
So I was about 5 years old at the time, and that was when I actually just first started up picking a golf club. And my brother, who was he's 2 years older than me, I kind of just went down to the range with him one day, and I just saw him hitting balls, and my dad and my grandpa, basically kind of my whole family, was kind of just playing golf, like kind of just for fun at first and just trying it out. And so I just kind of grabbed on the clubs, and they were kind of just teaching me just like how to swing it. And so I just started swinging it, and I hit some good shots, and then I hit some really bad ones.
Okay. That sounds like all of us, so that's okay.
But it seemed pretty cool. Because basically, there was a local coach here in California, he's like a starter coach for the new kids who are starting golf.
Sure.
We were kind of with him for a little bit. He would do clinics for us on the weekend. He would host a clinic that we would go to on chipping, putting, and hitting, just to try to get us better at the game. And then when I was 6, I took about a year to practice. Then I played in my first tournament ever when I was 6 years old. And actually, that first tournament, it was at the time it was called the Callaway Junior World Golf Championship. So it's a huge tournament.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people from around the world come to California and play it. And so I was like in the 6 and under division. So there were only 5 girls, and since I wasn't really much into the game, I came in last place, but it was actually pretty cool. And there was actually a news station down there, and they actually they caught a video of me like skipping down one of the fairways, because I played like a par 3 course.
Sure.
But I was skipping down the fairway, and they're like, "Oh, who cares how she's playing? She's just having fun, strolling down the fairway."
Perfect. That's golf right there. That's what golf should be at all times.
Yeah. And so, like, after that tournament, I started playing in a local golf association, and it just kind of progressed from there. I did play. I played soccer and softball when I was younger also.
Okay.
I played soccer for about 3 years. Then I just did softball and golf, just because it's kind of hard to do 3 sports at once.
Yeah.
And then I did softball for probably another 3 years. Then at that point, I had to decide between golf and softball, just because I would be missing a lot of softball games on the weekends because I had golf tournaments. So
Sure.
I stuck to golf after that, and then I just kind of focused on that and just progressed through it.
We're going to talk a little bit about AJGA. It's not something I've talked a lot about on this podcast, but I did want to hit a little bit on that. But I can't get away from the fact that your brother Tyler. I know he went to Arizona. He did transfer to UC Riverside, but he's only 2 years older than you. So I'm guessing there had to have been a lot of sibling matches on the chipping green, putting green. A lot of competition. There had to have been a time. I mean, first of all, you're brother and sister, so you're going to fight anyway. But brother and sister on the golf course, I'm sure there had to have been some heated matches involved there. Did you practice with him, or how did that dynamic work when you guys were growing up?
Yeah, we did practice a lot together when we were younger, and we would play in the same tournaments, but sometimes we would be at different courses, or he would tee off early in the morning.
Sure.
Then I would tee off in the afternoon, but we would still see each other sometimes. And then a couple times, if we were playing at the same golf course, what sometimes to help out, because both of my parents would watch us too play. So to help them out, they would pair us back to back.
Oh, nice.
He would be the last group of boys up, and I would be the first group of girls.
Sure.
And that would not just for my parents, but for me and myself, I can also just kind of see how he's playing, and
Okay.
we can kind of maybe if he makes a birdie, I'm I need a birdie. If I can watch him make a birdie, we can kind of feed off of each other.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. And even today, we still practice. We'll see each other practicing, or we'll go out to our country club and we play in this group together with another group of guys, and it gets pretty competitive because we may not be in the same group, but like if we're playing good, we'll come in and we'll be like, "What'd you shoot?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I shot this," and he's like, "Oh no, crap, you got me."
All right,
Yeah.
so let's see. Would you rather beat someone? I mean, how much joy do you get out of beating your brother versus maybe another person on the Arizona team? I mean, would it get that? I mean, is that what would drive you? Like if you're beating him or beating some of his friends, or is it just you'd end up being in the same group and not that competitive, or was that like kind of like a driving factor when you guys were starting and playing together?
It's not too competitive when we beat each other, just because we know it could happen. I mean,
Sure.
because we both have really great talent, and one day we might just not play the best that we can. And
Right. Okay.
I mean, I think it's like
Here it
like,
comes. I could feel it. It's coming. I know it's coming.
I mean, beating him does beating him feels nice, but beating another person like on another team,
Sure.
especially like if it was for me like to win an individual title, or someone who was like ranked high, who was ranked better than me, like to beat them overall, that kind of feels a little bit better.
Sure. Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. What's a shot that you would love to have your brother hit for you because it's not your strength? And maybe what is a shot that you would like take off your brother's hands because it's not his strength?
So I mean, we both hit the ball pretty long, but
Okay.
he hits it farther. So on a couple holes, on some holes at our Country Club, I would love for him just to tee off for me. That way I can have a little bit of a closer distance into the green.
Right.
And then for him, if I had to hit a shot for him, he would probably want me to probably hit like some wet shots.
Okay.
Or maybe to do like if there's like a chip where it's kind of downhill where you don't have much green, because I've been working on a lot of like the shots where I've short-sighted myself and I don't have much green to work with. He might have one of me do those. So.
Nice. So AJGA, you had a phenomenal 2015. Your first team All-American, junior All-American in the AJGA. Many top 10 finishes, many wins throughout your career. And then one thing I'm seeing which is kind of a continuation into the college game, is you're tough in match play. So, talk to me a little bit about junior golf. How that helped you get into the shape to play D1 athletics?
When I first started playing in the local NCJGA tournaments and SCPGA, I played those before I got into AJGA.
Right.
There really weren't a lot of match play, but it was more stroke play. But I knew at the college level, I knew that there are some tournaments that you can play about this match play, and then I would always watch the Solheim Cup, the Ryder Cup, President's Cup, all through PGA and LPGA Tour. And so if I wanted to be at that level one day, I would have to experience this match play format and just how different it is in regular stroke play. And so when I just first started playing the AJGA, one of my goals was to get on the Wyndham Cup team and play on the junior Solheim Cup team.
Mm-hmm.
And when I knew I just had to just play consistent golf and the invitationals, get top 10, top 10 in big tournaments, maybe win a couple tournaments. And then I was actually, and just kind of from watching the Ryder Cup and Solheim Cup, I think I was kind of learning how in the best ball format with my partner, I could kind of figure out who would be the best partner for me.
Okay.
Because since I hit it long, I would want my partner to have a good short game, or who would be really good on the putting green, making putts. And then alternate shot is pretty tough. So I would like someone who's about equally as long as me, or has about equally the same game as me. That's probably the best. That's probably the best person you want to have out there.
Yeah.
And so when I was actually in a movie theater, I remember with my mom, and I got this call during the theater from this number. I had no idea who it was, and they left me a voicemail. And so I listened to it after we get out of theater, and it was that I've been selected to play on the Wyndham Cup team for the West team. And I was pretty happy just because that was a big goal of mine.
Sure.
And it was my last year playing AJGA tournament. It wasn't even my last year to be eligible to play in it. So I knew a lot of the guys and the girls who were going to be on the team. So I knew we had a really good shot of winning it. I got along with them really well during the match play. And then same thing with the Junior Solheim Cup. I was actually at the Women's Amateur in Portland. My dad was caddying for me. And after the first round, one of the assistant captains, she was actually from the AJJ. She was tournament director for some of the invitational tournaments, so I knew her pretty well. She was like, I think she was like a rules official that week for like USGA. And
Sure.
so I'm just having lunch outside, and she comes up and tells me that I've been selected as the captain's pick. And I kind of have mixed emotions because my dad was also there who was caddying for me, and like he knew that I was really close to getting on this team. And like when I heard we'd be going to Germany and playing like the same course where they're playing, and we get to watch them one day compete, like that was pretty awesome to see.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah. I think playing in those two match play tournaments, that really helped me prepare for college, just because I knew that, because then I heard that the format for the national championship is changing to match play.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot more exciting match play format. So I knew having that experience, I could definitely help my team like kind of get used to it. And like we would actually play some match. We would actually go out after practice. We would go out for fun and just play a match between my teammate and I, just to get us ready.
Sure. No, that's a great preparation, and that's fantastic with all the experiences you had in Germany and with Wyndham Cup. We have a lot of listeners that are either juniors or parents of juniors. Actually, a lot of parents of juniors listen to this podcast because they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I put my child, or how do I, as a kid listening, how do I put myself in the best position to get to a college and either get a scholarship or find the right school that's right for me, whether it's a big D1 school like Arizona or a smaller school, a Division II or anything like that. I know Arizona is close to Escondido. It's not, across the country, but can you maybe talk about what drew you into Arizona as opposed to maybe other schools that were recruiting you?
I was actually, my brother, he was looking, my brother was visiting colleges too. And so I would kind of just go with him. Like we went to San Diego State together because they were pretty interested. And I mean, it's only a 45-minute drive from our house.
Sure.
So like that's the closest. So, I mean, I did like the campus, but I knew that there's better golf programs. There's good golf programs out there. Like Pac-12 is a huge, like Pac-12, SEC, like the Power 5 conferences are probably the schools that I wanted to look at because I knew that those are the best golf schools to compete for national championships.
Sure.
And so when I went to U of A with him, the coaches were they were already recruiting me pretty well because it was actually kind of funny. I played in the polo golf junior tournament out at PJ National, and the assistant coach was actually watching me. And one of the holes I was on the cart path, but where I had to drop, I would have had to drop in like this high grass. So I had to hit it off the cart path and like kind of punch it over like the water. And like I hit this amazing shot, and like the assistant coach, he was pretty amazed, and like he put me on his list right away of like to watch me. So all the other tournaments, he would come out, and like other big schools were watching me. And so I just decided to go take a visit with my brother, so that both coaches would be with me, and then the head coaches of the men's team would be with my brother. So we kind of like were walking around together, and I just kind of fell in love right away with this schools with the university just because it has a great athletic program. And I knew that Annika, now they go best Lorena Ochoa, some really good players
Absolutely.
some really good players went to that school who had a great college career and then, played super well in the pros. And when you see that, you know that the college golf helped them prepare them for the pros. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned Annika. I know that Arizona plays in the Annika Intercollegiate every year, and when I've spoken to players and even Coach Alan Bratton from Oklahoma State, you have such a great legacy of talent that's been in and through that program. I know you have spent time. I know the team has spent time with Natalie Gulbis and with Annika. What are maybe, I know it's a numerous amount of things, but is there anything that sticks out that you may have learned, whether it's even just about the game or just maybe how to manage your college career or prepare yourself to be a professional? Can you think of maybe something that you've learned from Natalie Gulbis or Annika Stornstam and all the time that you've had to be able to spend with them?
When I was a freshman, of my spring, because I came in one semester early.
Yep.
So I was, so that was like the big part of our schedule. And so we had it was my first home tournament at our home golf course. She came on the first day super early in the morning and just kind of talked to all the players, and she had a dinner with us. And she was just like, she didn't play all 4 years, so she's like, you just have to enjoy it all and just enjoy the ride. And you will hit some bumps in college. You might be going through like a slump, but just don't have that affect you. You have two great coaches who will work with you to get through it. And then with Annika, she's just, she pretty much.
Yeah, well, Annika talks. I don't care what she's talking about. You're just eyes are open, ears are.
You're just When you just hear Annika talk, you're just like, yeah, like that's pretty awesome what she did. And I think she was probably the best college player when she was there. Like everyone was trying to beat her, and I don't think. Yeah, it was. Every time we got to Annika, she would always just praise about how Coach Laura was on her team and everything, and she would always be there to help her. And just like watching her, like I wish you could still play today competitively in tournaments. It'd be amazing to see how well she still has the talent. But watching her back then, it was just pretty awesome.
I wanted to, so when I had Coach Iannello on the podcast, I don't remember exactly how we got into this conversation, but we talked about players that she wanted to recruit, players that she wanted on the team, and she wanted players that love to play golf, watch golf, talk golf, practice hard. And I just said kind of, in jest, I said, so you just like golf dorks? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's who I want. I want dorks. I want complete, utter golf, addicted kids that just cannot get enough about it. What is when you're not playing, when you're not practicing, are you watching swings on YouTube? Is Golf Central on 24/7, or do you try and get away from it?
It's kind of a mixture of both.
Oh yeah, if golf's on TV, come on.
If any major is on, then yeah, I'll definitely watch that. And even I will watch some LPGA tournament. Like if I see, if it's I'll look at the leaderboard, and if there's like 6 girls within like 2 shots or 1 shot with 6 holes left to play, I'll turn on, because that's pretty exciting golf to see. Because,
sure.
But I do watch it, and then sometimes, it just kind of depends. But I see a lot. I'll see highlights on Twitter and Facebook. So just kind of watching those are pretty cool to see too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Social media kind of takes care of stuff that you missed from the coverage. So that's fine for me to see too.
All right, so let's get into a little bit about the I want to talk a little bit about the national championship. You guys picked that up last year. You made that dramatic 5-foot putt. This year you make the dramatic putt against USC to get you into the semis. So I was actually watching that, but actually both putts, but this past year, the putt that you made to get into the semis, I was watching that live, and I just was like, oh, I can't. I mean, I don't want to say I can't believe it, but I was like, yep, she did it again. And then I got text messages from a lot of my friends who know I have this podcast, and they're just texting me, Haley Moore. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching it. I got it. I see what's happening. So I'm going to pass over the typical question of what does it feel like to make a putt like that. I want to go into what you do to prepare yourself and put yourself in the best position to make putts like that. Because again, a lot of people that listen to the podcast, they're amateurs. They'll be playing a club championship, or they're playing a match against their buddies, and they got that 5 to 7 footer left to right break, or they got a 25 footer up the hill. What put you in the best situation to make that putt through your practice sessions in Arizona? What are some of the drills that your team does to get your putting sharp? What are some of maybe the mental exercises you do to clear the mind and just, freely stroke the ball?
Yeah. So one drill that our coach kind of came up with us. It's just like 10 feet around the world. So you put like six to 10 tees just like around the cup from 10 feet. And I mean, they're a mixture of uphills, downhills, uphills left to right, uphills right to left, downhills left to right, downhills right to left, or just kind of like flat putts that have right to left or left to right breaks. And basically, if you want to try to get it in three under or better, but the key is if you leave it short or if you go more than 2 feet, it's more than 2 feet past the hole, it's a bogey.
Okay.
But then if you hit it past the hole inside 2 feet, then it's a par. So I mean, it's kind of more based about your speed. But there was when she first gave us this drill, a couple of my girls on my team, it would take them like 4 times to after like the 4th time they finally got it. So like, I mean, they would kind of get like a little upset, like, oh my gosh, come on, this seems so easy. Why can't I do it? But like, I think every time I just kind of kept challenging them to know that like they can do it, because it does kind of feel like a pressure situation.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, I mean, after the first time, they kept doing it like every practice, and they were getting better and better at it. And then after our regional practice round, we were doing a drill that one of our teammates, it's called like Catch Me If You Can.
Sure.
And it's basically, it was also from 10 feet. And so basically, if there's 3 girls in it, you can have like 1 tee or 2 tees separating each girl. And so I think there were 2 tees, because like it's so like if the first girl makes it, she gets to move on. But then if the next girl misses, she has to stay there. So like the girl that's behind her, if she catches up to her, makes it, and then the girl misses it, the girl who was in that same spot like is eliminated. So like that's kind of pressure too, because like if you see her moving closer, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to make this putt. Like this putt could mean something. And we would also kind of play like just putting contests after practice was over. And we would just pick we would pick like a 10-foot putt, then we would go to like a 5-foot, then we would go to like a 20-footer putt, and then even do like if we had 2 putts to win a match, like for like a lag putt, we would pick like a lag putt just to lag it up there. So we would kind of just think of like competitive games to play, just because we knew that like we wanted to get back to the finals again, and like we knew that there would be other teams out there practicing a lot harder than we were to like make a lot more putts and just to be in that more competitive drive. But we were practicing like the same stuff too.
Absolutely. Well, you guys were one match short. I know you you got to the semis this year after winning the national championship last year, so you guys were almost there.
Yeah.
But fell one short. I guess the thing that I kind of want to know is that you said you went into school very early, so you went a semester early. I believe you were 17 when you started college. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're 17. You're there early. You're there as a freshman. You play in a major at the age of 15. So you've had these really high profile experiences at such a young age, and now you're starting to play you're starting your professional career. What are maybe some of the things, or can you think of something that you had to experience as a freshman that you wish you were maybe better prepared for? I guess, as a senior leaving school, can you maybe speak to the difference in your personality and maybe in your maturity, since you started college? Like, what are you better at handling now than you were as a freshman?
When I first kind of stepped onto the campus, like in that spring semester as a freshman, I was kind of very shy at first. Like I would kind of really only like talk to my coaches like before I mentioned stuff to my teammates, just because I did know who they were, but they're older than me, and
Right.
I just didn't, I was still trying to get very mature. So like some of the stuff I would say, like when I was 17, wouldn't come out right to them, just because I'm just so young and that they may not understand it.
Right.
So that was kind of a bit scary too, but I just learned from other teammates, just how they kind of mature up. And like each year my maturity got better. I was talking a lot more, and like, if a teammate was struggling, like I would kind of help them, be like what do you need to work on? Like is there anything you need? I can definitely like give you some stuff to help you or anything like that. And so yeah, it was the first like year and a half. I was like very shy, but I still am a little shy today if a stranger just comes up to me, but I won't walk away like what I normally do. I might try to talk to them a little bit.
Okay.
Especially because like I have people who come up to me like today and be like, "Oh, I watched you last year in this shit. You had an amazing career,
Right.
An amazing story. Like, good luck." And if I was 17, I would kind of say like, "Oh, thank you," and then just like walk away. But now, but like today, I'll keep talking to them and just try to get in a relationship, just because like now, since being a professional, like it's like I'm trying to find like sponsors and everything out there, and
Sure.
so they could work, and so like they could be working for like this big company that I have no idea. And if I engage with them and talk to them a lot, they'll definitely they will like remember my name and like know that, oh, I had a really good conversation with her. She's like just turned pro. It would be nice to get to know her more, maybe.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent point. And that's not just because you're turning pro. That's just, you're thrust into the spotlight, and people that are coming up to you, they want to have your golf game. They're rooting for you. So that's, you got to keep that in mind. That's fantastic that you have the self-awareness to realize that it's going to, you're building relationships, and who knows where that relationship will take you. So you're a professional now. You just picked up your first victory on the Cactus Tour, which is a developmental tour for women out on the West Coast. It sounds like and I think anyone that watched Arizona on the national championship, such a tight knit group. Are you trying to maybe form a crew like that you can travel with or share experiences with as a professional, or are you maybe trying to just kind of forge your own path? What's been your experience thus far as a professional?
It's kind of been by myself lately. My mom has been traveling with me these first couple tournaments. But there's actually because I played the two Cactus Tour events that I played this year in Las Vegas. I played last year also, but as an amateur.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the girls from like last year were playing that same tournament. So I remember them, and like they remembered me, and so. But there was this one college player who played at UNLV. She's from England. We played played, I think, 2 tournaments together, like back to back, and so we were paired together almost every time. So we were talking a lot. We kind of got into a good relationship. And she has the same aspirations as me to go to Q school and get onto the LPGA.
Yep.
So I think we can maybe try to travel together and just play play and practice together, just kind of get that going. And then hopefully maybe along the road, other people will want to come join us and stuff. But I mean, that's something to explore. But right now it's going pretty good. So
yeah, because you're really, I mean, I've spoken to players that play on the developmental tours, whether it's in in other areas of the country, but it's really just I'm assuming it's just a way for you to kind of keep your game sharp and get ready for Q school in August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because there's no money to be made on the mini tours. It's just a place to play, place to compete, and identify weaknesses and enhance strengths to get yourself ready. What we didn't hit on this. We're going to talk a little. I'm definitely going to put the link to your GoFundMe account in the show notes of this episode. That way, people listening can kind of be aware of that. The finances of trying to make it as a professional. You didn't have to worry about that in Arizona. You have your equipment, you have your playing privileges, you have your travel and hotels. It's all taken care of. You just really just got to show up when when the bus is leaving. I mean, you're all set. How have you been able to adapt to that, knowing that this is a completely different thing with no financial support behind you?
I knew because once nationals was over, I knew that I needed to start this account just because I did try to save some money. I did try to save some money, but it was not enough. And so basically, before I started the GoFundMe account, I was just kind of researching and just kind of using and just jotting down numbers and getting approximate numbers of if I did have to travel somewhere, if I did have to travel by air, how much that would be. And then, but my coach, he did give me a lot of tips. At first, if you do have to fly, then you have to fly. Unless you want to drive all the way across you want to drive across the country and then go ahead. But sometimes that's hard to do, just if you're not used to driving so far.
Right.
But she said, to try to stay in Airbnb and stuff before hotels, because you save a lot of money, because a lot of times they'll you don't really have to pay them because they provide you food and everything, and you're staying at their house, so that definitely helps out a lot. And even your caddy, you'd rather have maybe a family member or a close friend who really won't charge you because they want to do it. Those are kind of two key to try to save on expenses. But
well, it's always good to get, like you said, get exposure, get your name out there, stay in the public eye, and you're gonna be on the LPGA Tour pretty soon. So that'll take care of itself. We didn't talk about the Augusta National Women's Amateur. I know there's tons of media attention on that, but I wanted to kind of get, I guess the way it was portrayed in the media was, very historic event, first women's amateur event at Augusta National. And absolutely very historic, but I'm curious, what was your mindset and maybe some of the other players' mindsets going in? Were you thinking, I want to win this? Or are you thinking, I just want to make the cut so I can get to play 2 rounds at Augusta National, or whatever happens, I'm just happy to be here? How different was that from the typical tournament that you're used to playing in?
It was true. I was truly grateful. It was an awesome experience. Basically, the year before, when he announced it at one of his press conferences right before the Masters, I didn't watch it live because I had a class to go to at U of A, but I listened to it after, and when I heard that they were going to host an inaugural event, there for the top 70 women in the world, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe like this is going to be happening. This is changing the women's golf world. And I knew at that point, I knew my ranking was good enough that if I just keep playing consistent golf throughout the year, it will stay in the top 70 and whatnot. And I would be able to go play it. And like when I received that invitation, like it was just like a master's invitation.
Right, of course.
So like seeing that invitation kind of gave me goosebumps. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like just seeing Augusta National is just pretty awesome. But yeah, like going into that tournament, I mean, it would have felt nice. I mean, I did have expectations of winning it, but I really wanted to enjoy the experience. And I mean, it was a big goal of mine to make the cut just because I knew they were going to televise it, and that basically the televising would have a huge impact on like the whole world watching, and especially all those little girls out there who want to be at our level one day, like for them to watch it, even for like the local ones who live in Georgia who wanted to go out and watch us play, like I think they had a better time than we did because like they just want to watch us and just experience this great golf and be out there one day in our footsteps and everything.
Who did you get to bring with you to Augusta National?
I brought my mom.
Okay.
But she had some friends who lived pretty close in Georgia, so they were able to come. So we had like 8 passes to give out,
right?
And both of my coaches came to watch. So I mean, one of my coaches he's been there before, but my head coach Laura, she has never been there, so she was pretty amazed by it. And but yeah, my friends who came, like they absolutely loved it, and I wanted to bring a lot of people, but I only had 8 tickets. I was like, sorry, I can't bring all you guys.
I'm not going to ask who was unlucky number 9 that didn't get the ticket. I'm not going to ask that question. But who in your group that you brought to Augusta National was the most awestruck, where you're like, all right, look, hold it together, just pretend you belong here, just don't embarrass me in front of everyone? Like who was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here?
Probably my mom.
Yeah, you can throw mom under the bus. That's fine. She can handle it. So mom was like, Mom, don't embarrass me. All right, this is a big deal. People know me here. Now just calm down. So how bad was she in the pro shop? I mean, was she shopping for souvenirs the whole time? How how was it? I mean, I know you guys rated that place pretty good.
Yeah, she's actually she can hear us talking because she's in her office working. I'm in the other room, but it's okay.
Oh, your mom's there right now?
Yeah.
All right. Tell mom
it's
tell mom I said hi.
No, actually one of the nights we got before we were able to go have dinner out with the chairman, and so before that we were actually able to go down to basically their pro shop, where it's just this big place that has all of the merchandise. Oh. And the players, we actually got some free stuff. Like they said we could pick out a hat, 2 polos, and a sweater, and that's basically that's like free for us. So we kind of they had like a little selection, and we were able to choose what we liked, and like they would get it out for us, and we could take it home right away.
You're just making every listener of this podcast insanely jealous, but that's okay.
Yeah, so I was like, because like if I would have bought those 4 things, that would have probably been about like $300.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, it's actually kind of hard because like I texted my family back home. I was like, we're going to be able to go shopping. Like, what do you guys want? Because, like, normally I would kind of text pictures of, like, the style of hats or, like, what color shirts they have, the style of it, because they want to get, like, a pretty nice one.
Right.
But, you can't, I mean, you can't really do that there. So, like, I just kind of had to guess. And like, oh, okay, I think this is cute. I think they'll like this. But, yeah, it was definitely, they did a lot of shopping. And then the day when I was warming up, when our friends came, they did a lot of shopping, too. And then there was actually, we had someone from U of A. He was going to go this Sunday and watch the Masters. And he told me, he's like, how much money should I bring? And I was like,
all of it.
I couldn't really answer that just because I didn't know exactly how much stuff he was buying. But when he came back, he's like, he said he spent like a good amount. I was like, was it worth it? And he's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great experience. And I know your final round at Augusta National, you shot even par. I think you finished T10. I think you finished tied for 10th, if I remember correctly, in the tournament.
Tied for 7th.
Seventh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
So I know you shot 72. What was it? 15 pars in a row, and then you come to 16, make a birdie. Were you just? How was that final round? Was it nerves? Was it just you're just waiting to get the lid off and make a bunch of birdies and just nothing was happening? Or walk me through a little bit of the round.
Yeah. So I was kind of one of the last tee times.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to watch the ceremonial tee shot in the morning. So I got there a little bit earlier than what I wanted to, but we were actually able to store like our stuff like in like one of the locker rooms. So like that was pretty cool to see.
Oh yeah.
But like watching that ceremonial tee shot, that was pretty awesome. And then I just kind of did my own thing. I went down to the range and just to like that range is really awesome.
Yeah. Well, you're just out of your element. I mean, I think everyone was just a little bit out of their element there. Just forget about the fact that it's Augusta National, but it's just the tournament's an inaugural. There's all the media coverage.
It's insane. Like, because we're driving there, because like we have these shuttle vans that are shuttling us, and just you don't know that golf course is there. But then once you turn right, because like we got to go down Magnolia Lane, and like when you turn right, you're just like, how is this even here? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so like driving down Magnolia Lane was pretty awesome.
That's great.
I mean, I don't think anything can top that. I mean, that's
the
awesome.
that's the place to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so like I was on the first tee. I was playing with a girl from Duke who I knew her a little bit because we did play some junior golf together. But she was nervous the first couple of holes, but I was pretty nervous too, even though I've been in a large crowd before from like 2015 at the ANA, but I think this crowd was bigger than what the ANA had. I mean, because like the days before I was like, how many like people who are supposed to be watching? And they said like it was sold out, but like they don't really have the exact number.
Right.
But I think after I heard there were like 40 to 50,000 people, I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Like that's pretty amazing for the women's game. So yeah, I kind of just started off a little nervous, but then I just kind of got back into the groove, and I was just kind of walking down the fairways with my caddy because he was a local caddy, and he knew Augusta really well, so I was very comfortable with him on the back just because I knew that if I got in trouble or if I was in this one spot on the green, he would tell me exactly where to hit it, and hopefully I would hit it there. And some of the holes, I know how challenging the greens were, but just on TV you can never see how undulating they are. But this one hole, he told me, okay, you have to aim 5 feet to the right. And I'm like, really? And he's like, trust me. And I saw that during the practice round, and I did it, and then I was really close to the hole, and I was like, wow. And he's
no way you thought that had any chance of going in, and then of course.
No, I was like, seriously, what? I'm like I have to aim all the way out here to get it close, and he's like, yes, you do.
Yeah, I live here. Yeah, this is exactly what you need to do. Wow. So Haley, I'm going to let you go here. But I wanted to ask you one final question before, we talked about your match play record, 5-0 at Arizona, tremendous match play record in junior golf. So let's go ahead and look forward to a potential Solheim Cup appearance for you. Who would you want as your partner, and maybe who would you want to play against?
I mean, it would be awesome to have someone like Lexi as my partner, just because we both hit the ball long.
Right.
But I mean, also I feel like it would be nice to be paired with a veteran, just because they've been in that. I mean, the Solheim Cup is definitely more competitive than what an NCAA match play is, but if I would be a rookie and be paired with a veteran, that would be pretty awesome, just because if they could tell that I would be nervous or something,
sure,
they would kind of just help me just kind of refocus and just enjoy it. And to play again, I got the great fortune to play with Charlie Hall the first 2 rounds at the ANA, and she's a really awesome player. And she's a long hitter like I am, so it'd be cool to be with her. I mean, all the European girls are pretty. They have that fire for match play. So I think any European player, it's tough to win a match between them. So.
Well, hopefully we will see you on that team. We will see you on the LPGA Tour very soon. Thank you for joining us here at the back of the range today, and we wish you the best of luck in the rest of the summer, and go tear it up at Q School.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was awesome.
And there you have it, another great episode here at the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. Special thanks to Haley Moore. Best of luck to her as she gets ready for Q School this year. I know we're going to be seeing her on the LPGA Tour very soon. Don't forget, keep leaving your reviews in Apple Podcasts, and we have a giveaway contest this week for the Open Championship. Head over to Instagram for more information on that. Our handle is the Back of the Range Podcast. So enjoy the Open Championship from Royal Portrush, and we'll see you again next week at the Back of the Range.